DK Audio presents the movie book, read by Peter Guiness. Introduction. No matter where the cinema goes, we cannot afford to lose sight of its beginnings. Martin Scorsese. This book describes, discusses, and pays tribute to some of the films that best capture the wonder of cinema. The movies gathered here are those that the authors feel, in the imprecise way of these things, to have had the most seismic impact on both cinema and the world. The journey starts in 1902, when Parisian showman Georges Méliès unveiled the latest in the series of short, silent films with which he'd been entertaining his countrymen. It was a romp through space called A Trip to the Moon, Le Voyage Dans La Lune. And it was a huge and instant success, not just in France but across the world. Sadly for Méliès, much of that success was down to the film being incessantly pirated by rivals. Its popularity did more than any other film of the time to secure the movie as the premier art form of the age. None before it had been as spectacular. None had such an intricate storyline. I don't know yet what I'm going to tell them. It'll be pretty close to the truth. Philip Marlowe, The Big Sleep. Trains, panic, and hype. By the time Méliès was making his lunar adventure, cinema had already been established as a slightly disreputable pastime, to be enjoyed at theatres and fairgrounds. To find its true beginnings, it's necessary to step back further, to Paris again, but this time with two showmen in the spotlight. The pair, brothers Auguste and Louis Lumière, had their moment in 1896. That was when, after holding large-scale screenings of their films the year before, they first showed the French public L'arrivée d'un train en gare de la Ciotat, also known as The Arrival of a Train. It was a mere 50 seconds of footage, in which, as the title suggests, a steam train entered La Ciotat station, shot from the adjacent platform. The sight sent all those watching fleeing in panic, convinced they were about to be mown down by the speeding locomotive, or at least that's the story that circulated after the event. The exact truth has been lost to time, but either the Lumières had quickly mastered the new art form's ability to make the screen feel like life, or they had a stunning knack for promotional hype. Perhaps it doesn't matter either way. Both those skills have a central place in the story of cinema. But it may be necessary to step back further still. After all, before the Lumière brothers sent their audience bolting in terror, plenty of others had pioneered movies. There should be a tip of the hat to US inventor Thomas Edison, who had screened films of boxing cats and men sneezing to individual customers a couple of years before the Lumières, and to English photographer Edward Muybridge, whose 1880s studies of humans and animals in motion were a vital preface to the moving picture. I lived now in a world of ghosts, a prisoner in my dreams. Antonius Bloch, The Seventh Seal. Telling stories. In fact, the story of film arguably stretches back to prehistoric times, to human ancestors hunched around a fire as one among them used the light to cast shadows on the wall and illustrate tales of fearsome beasts or unlikely heroism. When the audience settle into their seats for an insanely expensive, effects-fueled blockbuster on a towering IMAX screen, they're back around that fire. Film in the 21st century is still a telling of stories with words and images, bringing those images to believable life. This book is an attempt to build a narrative of film history out of the movies themselves, taking a tour of 100 or so films from Méliès on through the next century and beyond. Each entry discusses where a film came from.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?